Hello, we're Michael and Amy Caldwell. Thank you to Kate Ashley for inviting us to participate in this Wavelengths series. And thank you to Semester at Sea for enriching the lives of so many people for so many years.
Similar to the mission of Semester at Sea, Yoga One's mission here in San Diego is to help as many people as possible enjoy healthier, happier lives. So before we begin talking too much more, we'd like to start with a mindfulness moment. And we invite you to just notice where you are watching this presentation. Is it on your phone or in the laptop? And how are you sitting? And what are your surroundings? And then we'd like you to just kind of bring a little more consciousness to your seat. So please sit forward if you're in a chair, on a couch, or even on the bed, and let just the pelvis and the tops of the thighs be on the chair and bring your back away from the backrest. Once you've done that, I invite you to parallel your feet. So you can take a look, want your legs to be parallel like train tracks, and start to ground down into both your feet and then your seat as well. From there, if you're comfortable, you're welcome to close your eyes. And as you inhale, roll your shoulders up towards your ears. Let your hands slide in a little bit as you exhale back and down. Just a few more like that, slowing down the breath, inhaling as the shoulders float up and exhaling as they roll back and down. And just one final time like that, inhale, shoulders shrug up towards your ears, exhale, let them float back and down, and then just remain there for a moment. Eyes can be open or closed, and continue to notice your breath. Smooth, full inhale through the nose, slight pause, full deep exhale. Just last couple times like that. As we equalize the breath, we equalize the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system, helping to create an alert relaxation. And of your next exhale, if your eyes are closed, go ahead and open them up. And just notice how 1 or 2 minutes can really make a difference.
So in 1990, I was a sophomore at USC. I just moved into the fraternity house. And one day, a member floated into the fraternity and he was glowing. I immediately approached him and found the source of his illumination was that he had just returned from semester at sea. Fast forward to the spring of 1991, and I was aboard the SS Universe, developing a lifelong love of travel. In 1997, Amy and I decided to give up our careers in the music business, and we ended up traveling around the world for 3.5 years, visiting 15 countries. Some of the highlights were getting engaged at 18,800 feet with Mount Everest as a witness, and living 4 days on an uninhabited island in Fiji. In India, we really fell in love with our yoga practice and decided that was something that we'd like to share the joys and benefits of with others once we return back to San Diego. At some point in 2007, we created the Yoga One CD, which was released on Congo Music Group. And that included artists such as The Recorporation, 07, Bittersweet, and Bliss. We soon thereafter received the Semester at Sea newsletter, and Amy had the great idea to send them a copy of the CD with some information about ourselves. One thing led to another, and we ended up teaching the reunion voyages on the ship as it left from San Diego down to Ensenada. A couple years after that, we were so fortunate to be able to share yoga with the community on the enrichment voyage. And the beautiful thing about that for us was we were able to include our 2 children, Rhea and Miles. Semester at Sea continues to impact our life. On the ship, the importance of a cohesive community cannot be overstated. We brought that attitude with us when we opened Yoga One. We foster a positive, inclusive, supportive, fun, non-competitive environment where people are encouraged and provided the tools to be their best selves. When we started our business, it required us to leave our comfort zone. Much like Semester at Sea, we needed to be adventurous. We needed to learn to ebb and flow with the circumstances, but also to have a clear direction and purpose. At the same time, we learned not to be attached to the results. It may sound like a bit of a cliche, but we feel both in yoga practice and with traveling, It really is about the journey and not the destination.
So one of the beautiful things about both travel and yoga is they give us tools to arrive more fully in the present moment. Yoga, by definition, means to join or to yoke. It also is the state of union. So yoga really is about relationships, relationships to our body and mind, relationships to each other, relationships to the world around us, and relationships to the present moment.
Because yoga is an experiential practice, we'd like to share some simple tools with you that you can use to be more connected both to the present moment and to your body throughout the day. This will help hopefully reduce stress as well.
So as we started, please go ahead and just adjust your seat if you've kind of fallen back into your backrest, and we're going to scoot apart a little bit so we have some more space. If available, have some room for your arms to reach out to the sides and overhead and things like that. So again, sitting at the front edge of your chair, not relying on the backrest, and just taking that quick check. So a lot of yoga is about a noticing practice. So we really are trying to approach it with an open, curious attitude and letting go of judgment as it arises, which is normal, but we're just going to meet ourselves like a good friend at the door. So we're going to show up for whatever's in the moment with a sense of open curiosity and kindness. So please parallel your feet. And again, legs like train tracks. And just like we started, inhale, roll your shoulders towards your ears. And exhale, roll them back up down. I'll just do that one more time. Something you can do at any point throughout your day. Inhaling and exhaling. And then let the shoulders settle and remain at what's called the back plane of the body. It's as if there was a wall behind you. And just stay here for a moment. If it's comfortable, again, close the eyes and just listen to the instruction. If you feel more comfortable, you're welcome to open your eyes and look at the screen. So continue to breathe deeply in and out through the nose. So the mind is much like a ceiling fan. So throughout our day, we're really spinning the fan, thinking a lot. And so when we start to enjoy the present moment in this mindfulness practice, it's like we're turning the switch of that fan off. And the blades don't stop immediately. So thoughts might be intermittently occurring, and we're just noticing any thinking as it's happening. It can be really useful to just even say to yourself, thinking. So each time, continue to gather your attention on the foundation of the posture. So in this case, your feet and your seat. Also notice that open, curious attitude. And finally, really gathering your attention on the breath. So on your next exhale, we won't be mirroring you throughout this practice. So again, you'll just listen to the cues. We're going to bring the right ear towards the right shoulder. And allow your left shoulder to continue to relax back and down. If you'd like, you can turn your gaze slightly towards the floor on the right side. And if that feels nice, stay there. If you'd like, you can also go the opposite direction, letting your right ear move more towards your right shoulder, gazing slightly up. On your next inhale, bringing your head back to neutral. And inhaling again, rolling the shoulders up. And exhaling, rolling them back and down. So throughout the practice, this should feel good in your body. If anything, if there's any pain, that's really communication from the body to adapt the practice. This is going to be very gentle and should hopefully feel nice for everyone. As you're ready, exhale, bring your left ear towards your left shoulder. And just like we did on the other side, keep that right shoulder rolling back and down. Option to gaze down on the floor to the left side. If that feels nice, stay there. Or if you like, you can turn your gaze slightly up and bring your left ear closer to left shoulder. Continue to breathe smoothly in and out through the nose. As you're ready, bring your head back to neutral. Pause. Inhale, roll your shoulders up. And exhale, roll them back and down. Check in one more time with your foundation. So feet are really grounded. Center of the heel, small toe, big toe mound are really connected to the ground. And that's fine if you're either barefoot or wearing shoes. But just feel your feet consciously pressing down into the floor. And from there, let your spine elongate upwards through the crown of your head. We're going to maintain that length. And as we exhale, take a very gentle twist to the right. So as you inhale, you lengthen your spine. As you exhale, start to rotate to the right. The left hand can cross over to the outer right thigh. Right hand can come behind you on your chair or seat. And just continue with each inhale to root down through your feet and rise up through the crown of your head. As you exhale, you're rotating gently around to the right and letting your chest really lead the twist, and the head is just following along. Continue with that smooth, even inhale and exhale. And also continue to roll your right shoulder back and down. On your next in breath, go ahead and return to the center, pausing there. And continuing with that noticing practice. So if your mind has drifted off to something from earlier today or later this afternoon, just notice thinking and come back to the breath and the body in this moment. On your next inhale, sit up nice and tall, elongate your spine. And as you exhale, rotating around to the left side. Right hand can cross over to the outer left thigh, left hand somewhere along your seat. And allowing your chin to be level to the earth. Let that left shoulder roll back and down. Smooth out the breath, and as best as you can throughout the practice, equalize and harmonize the inhale and exhale. Your next in breath, go ahead and return back to the center and just pause there. So it's nice between each posture, just let there be that little gap. So those gaps are places where we can arrive again more fully in the present moment. And we have those same types of gaps between our inhale and exhale, and those same types of gaps between our thoughts. So continue a little bit with some spinal movement. You again should feel nice on the back. We spend a lot of time right now seated. So we're just trying to create some freedom through our spine. So when you're ready, we're going to take our arms into what's called a cactus shape. So we're going to look at two right angles. I like you to spread your fingers well and energize the muscles in your arms. So as you're ready, inhale, sit up really tall again. And we're going to exhale, just side bend gently to the right. So as we side bend, keep that left sitting bone firm on the chair or your seat and elongate through the crown of your head. You can remain here. We can bring that right hand down again somewhere along this the chair or the seat. And then you could take that left arm out to the side. Any amount here. So if this feels nice, it's really opening for the chest and shoulders. You can remain here. If you want to try, you could sweep your left arm alongside your left ear. But if you feel any discomfort in your shoulder, please go back to that earlier shape. So part of that noticing practice is choosing the postures that feel best for you in the moment, meeting yourself again like that dear friend at the door. On your next inhale, come back to upright. Come back to your cactus arms. So make two right angles and pause there. Root down through your feet, get grounded through your legs. Inhale here. And then as you exhale, do that same tipping motion towards the left side. Smooth out your breath. Keep that right sitting bone really grounded. Option to bring your left hand alongside the chair somewhere. Option to also take your right arm straight out to the right. So again, listening. And if you feel great, continue where you are. If you need to back up to the previous part, please do. Final option here is if you'd like, take your right arm and sweep it across like a windshield wiper right alongside your right ear. Smooth out your breath. And on your next inhale, returning to that cactus shape with two right angles. Let's go ahead and straighten the arms out to the sides. Just pause there. We're going to turn the palms facing down and we're going to make two fists. And from that place, what we're going to do is we're going to just work on a little bit of wrist flexion and extension. So as you exhale, turn your fists and bring them down towards the floor. And then as you inhale, going the opposite way. So you're going to continue, and I'm just going to talk a little bit. So we're going to do with the wrist down and up. One of the beautiful things about yoga practice is it's really about, again, not only harmonizing our relationships, but the harmony between strength and flexibility. So it's not really just about stretching. It's equally about creating a sense of strength. So throughout our practice, we can just keep coming back to that relationship as well. Okay, next time you inhale, go ahead and release your wrist, spread your fingers. We're gonna cross the right arm on top of the left and give yourself a big hug. So reach your arms around, let your elbows lift up a little bit, and just take a few deep breaths here. Imagine that you can breathe into the space where your hands are touching the back of your body. So let the breath get really full. And while we're doing that, we're going to just look over the right shoulder for a moment. Take a breath there. On your next inhale, reaching the arms out to the sides, spreading the fingers well. And then as you exhale, we're going to take the left arm on top, give yourself that same hug. Let your elbows lift up a tiny bit so your upper arms are parallel to the floor. And breathe deeply. And as you continue there, you're going to just look over your left shoulder. Any amount that feels enjoyable. And final time, bring your head back to neutral in the center. Inhale, take your arms out wide to the sides. And exhale, release your hands onto your laps. As we did in the very beginning, inhale, roll your shoulders up. And exhale, roll them back and down. Just pause for a moment, option to close your eyes. Feel again your feet, your seat on the chair, and notice your breath. And maybe now also notice any gaps between thoughts. As you're ready, you can open your eyes, and we're going to cross your right leg on top of your left. So to do that, you can bring your feet a little closer together. We're going to start with just a cross-leg position where the knee is pointing towards the sky and the foot is dangling off to the side. So you're just going to let yourself sit up nice and tall here. So if this feels like it's enough on your hips, you're going to stay in this position. It's much kind of easier, more adaptable, comfortable position. But I want both sides of the pelvis to be equally grounded on your chair or your bed or wherever you're sitting. So you feel that your right and left sides are equally heavy. So one option is to stay here. Another option is to bring your right leg a little bit out to the side and come into what we call a figure four shape. It's going to be a little bit bigger stretch on your hips. So in any situation, notice if when we made that little position change, if you ended up kind of rounding your spine. So again, maybe even lift your seat up a little bit, readjust, and sit up super tall here. Okay, good. So we're going to do just a little bit of ankle rotation. So you're going to bring your hands either onto your chair. If you like them on your lap, that's okay too. And then start to rotate your ankle around in a circle. So just like we did with the wrist, we're just kind of doing a little bit of range of motion work to, again, create some movement and flexibility there. Okay, good. And breathing here. So now from that place, you can keep your foot what's called flexed, right? So there's a little bit of activity in your legs. And from there, inhale again, roll your shoulders up and back, sit up nice and tall. You're already feeling a big stretch in your hips. You're going to stay where you are. If you want to deepen that experience, we're going to shift our torso a little forward. Start to hinge forward and see if you can just imagine that you're just hinging only at the hips. So there's no real rounding in your spine. So your ears, shoulders, ribs, and pelvis are still kind of in the same relationship. And you're enjoying your breath there. So again, to deepen that experience, you can go further forward. And you'll get to that place that we call your edge, right? So it's okay to approach that edge, but if you feel like it gets so intense you're not breathing, then it's not really benefiting you. So you're going to back yourself up just a little bit. So you're going to hold here for a few moments and actively press your right outer shin towards the floor. So you're drawing both thigh bones towards the ground. On your next inhale, sitting up nice and tall. And just like we did earlier, we're gonna just one more time, let that right leg cross over so you can let your foot dangle towards the ground. Set up nice and tall here, inhale. And as you exhale, we're gonna rotate around to the right. So just deepening that twist that we did earlier, bringing your left hand to the outside of your right thigh, right hand can come up to the back of your chair seat. And finding that balance again between a little bit of strength and grounding through your feet and legs, and that openness with your breath and your upper body. And please go ahead and come back to the center. You can release your hands and we can switch to the other side. So again, starting with those feet parallel or pretty close to hip distance apart. Sit up nice and tall, and then taking the left leg across the right one, and just start with your legs dangling a little bit so the foot's towards the ground. Check out what's happening with the pelvis. So we want it to be what's called neutral. So both sides of the hips are nice and heavy, shoulders about equal, enjoying your breath here. So if that feels like it's enough on your hips, you're going to remain in this position. If you'd like to, again, get that deeper stretch in the outer hip, you're going to take your left foot and cross it to the outer right thigh and just sit up there. When you do that, again, notice what happens with the hips and see if you can get yourself equal from left to right. Okay, good. So from there, again, rotating the ankle and enjoying your breath. Smooth inhale, smooth exhale. You hear some cracking or popping, it could be just gases being released from the joint capsule. As long as there's no pain, it shouldn't be a problem. And you can rotate your ankle in the opposite direction. Okay, good. And then letting the foot stay flexed. Sit up nice and tall and begin to hinge right at the hips. So imagine that you're, again, going to keep your spine in that same relationship. So it's really not a rounding action. It's that just hinging at your hips. So you feel like you're elongating your spine as you fold forward any amount, breathing there. So any asymmetries that you notice, one side might be tighter than the other. Again, we're meeting ourselves like that friend at the door. These are very normal things to notice. And we're just trying to create a little more mobility and harmony in the body. And also that full present moment attention. So a few last breaths here. On your next inhale, coming back to upright. And letting the left foot go back down towards the ground. And we're going to do one final spinal twist on the left side. So you're going to cross your left leg over the right one more time. So from here, inhale, sitting up nice and tall. And then exhale, we're going to rotate around to the left. So you can bring the left hand onto the back of the chair seat. Right hand can hook to the outside of your left leg. And just deepening that experience from earlier. If you want more intensity here, you could also bring the back of your right forearm to your outer left leg as well. So you can experiment with that. Smooth inhale, smooth exhale. And on your own time, please go ahead and make your way back to the center, untwist. And you can uncross your legs, parallel your feet, and just let your hands rest one on top of the other in your lap. Let your elbows hang free. If you're comfortable, close the eyes. Notice any relative sense of ease you might feel, whether it's in the body or in the mind, just a general sense of relaxed presence. Deepen the inhale and the exhale. And if your eyes are closed in the next few moments, you can softly open your eyes. So again, just checking in with your seat. We're going to be right at the front of the chair, and we're going to take our arms back to that, what's called cactus shape, or two right angles, like we did at the beginning, and spread your fingers well. So from here, we're going to just work a little bit more with the spine. So as you inhale, I'd like you to tip to the front edge of your pelvis, lift your chest, and create like a little bit of spinal extension, a little back bend. And as you exhale, we're going to go the opposite direction, rounding the spine into a gentle C shape and bringing the elbows and forearms towards one another. You may or may not touch. Inhale, elongate the spine, lift the chest. And as you exhale, rounding the spine, bringing the forearms towards one another. So you're going to continue a few more times at your own pace. So one of the other beautiful things about yoga practice is the breath is the leader. So if you had a dance partner, the breath would be the leader and the movement is the follower. So we're just letting ourselves move at the pace that our breath leads. Exhaling one final time, rounding the spine. And then inhale, come to a neutral spine and pelvis and just pause there again in that right angle. I'd like you to inhale and take both arms up towards the sky. Reach up through your fingertips. You're going to bend your right elbow and take hold of that with your left hand. So in that position, if you can, allow the back of your head to come onto your right forearm. So it feels again like a wall or a little headrest. Feel that sense of spinal length rooting down into your chair and rising up through the crown of your head and breathing into that space. So this again is something you can do pretty much anywhere. A nice little break during your day. Your next inhale, taking your arms back up overhead, reach up. Same thing, other side. Exhale, bend your left elbow, hand comes behind you, take hold of that elbow with your right hand, and then let the chin come roughly parallel to the ground. And you can almost feel like you're pressing down a tiny bit with your right hand and reaching up with your left elbow. So equal and opposite there. Smooth breath, letting the head come alongside the forearm for a headrest. Breathing deeply. Inhale, stretching both arms up towards the sky. Exhaling, arms out and down. And they can again just rest on your lap. So you can let the hands either rest palms down as one option, or like we did earlier, you can let them just sort of rest on top of each other. That's nice as well, whichever one you prefer. We do one final breathing exercise here. So just get grounded, feet and seat, spine long. Imagining that wall behind you. And if comfortable, closing the eyes. So as in our yoga practice, when we're refining and harmonizing the relationship, not only to the body, but the present moment, listening to that communication and then making choices about what would best serve us in the present moment, that also speaks to our breath. So we're gonna do a little simple breathing exercise, but it's really important not to strain. So really approaching it again as that friend with that gentle kindness so that we're both relaxed and present. And in that place, I'd like you to go ahead and exhale completely. And then count your inhale. So inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then exhale for the same count. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to continue like that a few times. You're just going to count actually on your own, because it's not so important that you get to 4. The inhale and exhale might be 3, they might be 6. It doesn't really matter. It's not, again, so much about that destination. It's about the journey, just like our amazing travels on Semester at Sea. So we're accessing the breath as the journey. So continue to count your inhale and your exhale, inviting them to be roughly equal. Last couple times like that. You might notice in this practice that as you continue, the count will naturally expand, but it doesn't have to. You can also start to notice there's a little gap, little pause. I don't want you so much to hold the breath between inhale and exhale, but think of it more like a swing set. So when you're on the swing, the inhale has an arc, and there's that little moment of hovering, and then the swing goes back the other direction, and there's that little moment of hovering. So you can continue to count and notice those little gaps. And after your next inhale, go ahead. If your eyes are closed, you can open them up. And notice how you feel once again. So we just wanted to offer some tools that you can utilize throughout your day, throughout your week, to create a sense of harmony with your body, with your mind, with the people in your lives, with the world around you, that you can carry with you on your journey.
During your daily itinerary, we encourage you to create excursions that promote physical and mental well-being.
There's a really great book called Buddha's Brain by Rick Hansen, who has a PhD, and he has some useful tools that we can all use in everyday mindfulness. So I'm going to just give you a few, and maybe they'll resonate, and you can put them in your bigger yoga toolbox. So one thing that we can do is to talk less. Talking less creates a little more space to be present, to listen more. Another thing that you can do is reduce multitasking when possible. Of course, we not only own Yoga One, but also have 2 children, and multitasking is definitely part of our lives as well. But when possible, reducing multitasking is a really great way to create, again, some more space for enhanced mindfulness. Another thing that we can do, as we did in our practice today, is focus on our breath while performing daily tasks. So that breathing that we were doing, counting, just deepening and evening out the inhale and exhale are things that nobody even needs to know that you're practicing, and you can do it when you're driving or walking or doing the dishes or working. So focusing on the breath while you're performing daily tasks is a really useful tool for enhancing mindfulness and presence. Another thing that you can do is relax into a feeling of calm presence when you're with others. So just doing the best we can, moment to moment, to use the tools of our foundation, how we're sitting, how we're breathing, so that we can be more fully present with those in our lives, enjoying that journey that we're all on together. And the final thing that I'd like to share with you for today is using routine events as what he calls temple bells. So when you get that ding on your text or computer, when you are drinking your coffee in the morning, things that you do every day, taking a shower, those are places that can serve as temple bells before meals, where you have just this momentary pause, kind of almost like a scheduled little mini vacation, so that you can really show up in the present moment and use those events to bring you back more fully to the here and now.
As we've discussed, yoga and traveling are so similar, and each is enhanced by the ability to be as fully engaged and accepting of where you are in any given moment, as opposed to where you think you should be. Hopefully where you are is where you want to be, but in those moments where you find you aren't, such as the current pandemic, when so many uncertainties exist and many pre-made plans have been paused or canceled entirely, the best yogis and the best travelers are those who adapt and make the best of the circumstances in which they find themselves. Between Salvador, Brazil, and the Seychelles, something went awry with the ship, the SS Universe. We were basically coasting for 3 days in the Indian Ocean. A lot of people were a little upset because the adventures and the itineraries that they had expected were postponed. One day I walked out onto one of the upper decks and I looked down on all of the passengers, the students, the staff, enjoying themselves in the sun. I gazed out onto the blue, calm ocean and the calm blue sky overhead, and I realized that maybe this was going to be one of the best moments of the experience. And it turned out we had way more opportunities to meet each other and to engage with one another, learn so much more about what we could do in that community. And it turned out to be one of the best experiences of the trip. So as we deal with the current situation, let's all maybe take a little time just to float and enjoy where we are and find the positives in the circumstances. Amy and I would like to thank both Kate, Ashley, again in Semester C for this opportunity. We'd like to thank you for sharing your time with us today. And we hope to see you online for yoga, in person sometime, and definitely, hopefully in the not too distant future on the ship for some yoga classes. So thank you so much. Namaste.
Namaste. So one final invitation for you is, because we're offering all of our classes online now, you can visit us anywhere you are. And we have a daily schedule that's pretty full, and we'd love to see you, like Michael said, online. And we were trying to think of ways that we could give back to Semester at Sea, and we're going to offer 50% of any 10 class package that's purchased to take online classes with Yoga One. We'll give 50% of that back to Semester at Sea. So it's a really easy code. It's just SAS50, and all that information will be in the text. But just wanted to kind of let you know, a personal invitation that both Michael and I teach as well as manage the studio. We have some other amazing teachers as well. We offer a wide variety of styles. So we have gentle, restorative, more flow and vinyasa based. We have different levels, beginner friendly, and again, for continuing students. So I'm sure that there's something in that schedule that will fit your needs, and it would be lovely to see you from afar, and so we can see you in person.
Yoga1sandiego.com, everything's spelled out. Look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you again.
Thank you.